Well, hello and welcome to Knife Delights. On the table today we've got this old Hammer Brand 2-blade jackknife, and I cleaned off the tang stamp here just a little bit. We don't have USA on the side here vertically, so this is one of the older tang stamps. So I'm going to have to look this one up. I think this is the very first one, which would make it 37, 38 time frame. I'm going to have to check it. But I decided, let's see what we can do with this old knife. We can see it's all dented up there. The covers are missing on it. It's in pretty rough shape. But I thought, let's just take it apart and take a look at it. Now, this is a shell knife, so we've got this little tab here. And I've had a lot of difficulty getting that started. So I've been working on that for 5 or 10 minutes there, just trying to get it to this position. So I thought at this point I would go ahead and show you how you got to get underneath that little tab and get it pulled up. But these tabs, you got to be very careful with them because they're easy to break. So, okay, got it there. Now, the other tabs are down here. This one just looks like it's going to be a difficult one. If you break the tabs off, I have come up with a way to more or less just glue them back on or put them back on, but don't want to break the tabs. Let me see here, and this cover is all bent. Can I get it by there? Okay, appears to be off there. Let me squeeze it back here just a little bit. I got to get that bent up all the way. So that we can slide it down. That's a little heavier metal than what they usually have. There it went. It broke free. And there's the tab on the other end. You can see all the rust underneath here. That's what's left of the covers that was underneath. Okay. Well, let me work on getting the other cover off. Okay, I was able to get that other cover off. I tell you, those were kind of tough to get to. So on this one, it's built a little different because the shell cover's on the bottom here. There's no way to get to that to pry it open. A lot of times on the shell covers, you can pry them open from either end. Some of them have little slots here where they slide on there. So every one of them is just a little bit different. But you can see the condition of this knife here. So let's just start cleaning it up here a bit. Again, this is from, these were inside, and you had your cover material over the top of it. But it's all rust, been taken off, worn off, broken off. Let's see what we can do here. Start getting rid of some of this rust. Now, a lot of these old knives, that's why I usually soak them in rust remover. Because the rust remover will get down into areas that you can't see. But even then, I don't think it removes all the rust. So on a lot of the refurbishments I do, you get it looking all nice and clean, but you really don't know what's underneath, do you? I just thought it'd be fun to take this one apart to see what we can do with it. Of course, I'm using the wire brush on this because this gets covered up, it's not seen, so if you scratch it a little bit or whatever, it's no big deal. Clean off those back springs a little bit. Okay. Let's hit the inside of the covers themselves. Don't have to get it all. Trying to get rid of all that heavy rust there. Make sure you're wearing eye protection when you're doing this. Safety first. Okay. Here's where we're getting started. I'm going to throw it in the rust remover and then we'll take a look at it. Okay, I let things soak for just about an hour or so. Wiped out some of that rust. These might have to go back in for a little while longer. Still got some rust down in there. This is what our knife looks like after pulling it out of the rust remover and rinsing it off and wiping it off. I'm going to start by using this, well, it's almost like a Scotch-Brite pad. It's 830 grit. It's the softest one, least aggressive one pad that I have. But even with this, you got to be careful because you can scratch your metal pretty bad. But this is covered up by the covers, so that shouldn't matter. Cleans it up, not even using any cleaning compound, just using the pad. Cleans stuff up pretty good. You know, this doesn't have to be perfect, you just got to be rust free. There we go. Now we can switch to my normal felt pad. We'll put some cleaning compound on there and finish it up. And we'll work on the blades and the back springs here. See how that looks. After we're using the felt pad. Cleans it up pretty good, don't it? Okay, let's start working on this main blade here real quick. See what it looks like after an initial pass. down in that nail neck. That's cleaning up really nice, isn't she? Okay, that's what we look like after an initial pass. I'll work on the other blade and the other side of this and work on the back springs here a little bit, and I'll be back with you. Well, I've been doing some work on this knife off camera here. I had soaked it in the mineral oil, brought it out, and then I hit the blades and hit the frame and everything with the Dremel. Did some more cleaning, did some sanding down inside here, and then I threw it back in the mineral oil, and I'm getting it wiped off here. But this is just really coming out nice. This is really looking nice. Look at that back springs, how clean they look. Got some dirty oil. But the reason I threw it back in the mineral oil is because I like to spend a few minutes now just manipulating the blades. You'll work out that stuff. Listen to the walk and talk on the pen blade here. Half stop. Nice and firm. Listen to this. Ha! For an old knife that's been used, and you can tell it's been used. Look at the blade there. You can see the little chip down there. You can see it's been sharpened down. Somebody used this knife, and yet, listen to this walk and talk. But you see how we're getting that dirty oil out of there? But it's a lot cleaner this time around. So then we can just keep working on, keep working on these back springs too. See that there? And we'll take. Now, originally, I think the first time around, I just scraped on it. I had to get a little rust scraped off. I think the rust is pretty much all gone. But we can just keep wiping it down. And we just keep working this stuff out. So internally, we're trying to get everything just as clean as possible. Yeah. I've got the covers soaking in the rust remover again. I've got them pretty clean, but there was a couple little areas still had a little bit of rust on it. So I threw them back in rust remover, give them a really good long soak, because I want to make sure we don't have any rust left once we put those covers back on. And now we can look down in little areas like here. I've scraped on those. Clean out some of that dirty oil again. Clean out those areas. And so this is what I'll just continue to do until I get it as clean as I can. I'm satisfied with it. Looking pretty good there. We'll look down inside the wells here. Channels, well, I don't know the proper name. See down in there? We'll wipe it out here real quick. And I'll show you what it looks like down inside. It's looking pretty clean down in there. Okay, a little light here. See if we can get it to focus here. See how nice and clean it is down in there? And again, I sanded it. Just using my 600 grit. Get down in there and I sand on it. And I don't see a speck of rust down in there anymore. Clean that little area there. Whoops, get up here. Clean that little area there. And then down in here and wipe it out once more. And just continue to get more and more stuff out of there, don't we? And there you see it. Nope. Do it this way so we can get it to focus. See how nice and clean that is? Another thing that I've been doing since I bought these here, the emery boards, as I've learned, you can take one of the cotton patches here, put some of the rubbing compound on there. You get down in there, work it back and forth, and this allows you to put the pressure on the side walls there. It just does a wonderful job of cleaning. Of course, when I get all done with this type of cleaning and such here, we'll throw it in the ultrasonic cleaner and get rid of a bunch of more stuff. But yeah, it just looks so nice down in there now. So nice. Got some extra cleaning compound down in there. That'll come out. So let's just hit these blades here real quick, should we? Again, they're looking really good already. Alrighty, change my attachment here. And let's just touch them up again. Get down in that nail nick. What's neat is it's really cleaning them nice, but kind of leaving some of the character on it too. This blade's pretty chewed up on the end. Somebody got a lot of use out of this old girl. Oh yeah, looking really nice. You know, I've bought brand new slip joints that don't have that good a walk and talk on them. Remember, these old Hammer brands, made by Imperial. Well, originally made by New York Knife, but from the 1930s or so on, made by Imperial. These were budget knives, and to have a quote-unquote budget knife that looks like it's been used and abused, and yet it still has that wonderful walk and talk, that says something. They may have been budget, but overall, they were still a decent knife. That's what I'm talking about right there. It's clean, but it's got some character left in that blade. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Okay, I think what I'm going to do now is, I think the back springs are fine. They don't need to be touched up again. I think I'm going to just throw it back in the mineral oil, let it soak, and we're just going to keep working that dirty oil out. Do it at least one more time. Then it's probably ready for the ultrasonic cleaner. Well, I want to kind of give you a little bit of an update of what I'm doing with this knife. The actual knife has been cleaned and soaked and mineral oil and that. I got it drip drying right now after another mineral oil bath. What I've been working on is these covers. And the cover originally looked like this. And you can see those dents down in there. Pretty dented up. It was the same on this one. And so you can see the dents down in there. I knew I couldn't really pound them out without probably making it worse. So I wanted to experiment. And using this stuff right here, some putty, epoxy putty. And I put it in there and I filled in the dents in this. And then I've sanded it off. And you can see that gray stuff. That is the putty, epoxy putty. And then I primed it with some white primer. And then I painted it with some yellow. And then I've sanded off again. And to get it real smooth, I need to spray paint it. But in a way, I kind of like this look. Kind of gives it a pocket worn look. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do to finish this up, whether paint it nice and smooth and make it look pretty, or leave it in a state like this that shows kind of shows a pocket worn or aged look to it. So the bolsters look very similar, but I started out with some 1000 grit and then went all the way up to 3000 grit and sanded on those bolsters. Of course, if you remember earlier, this was full of rust in the back. They're all nice and clean. And so this has been one experiment. I think that stuff is going to stick on there really good. It's sandable. I've got it pretty smooth. So we are going to just start working on this one here and try to get it into the same shape. I think it looks pretty good. Looks a lot better than it did. So again, we'll start out with some like 1000 grit. And just go vertically like this for a little bit. And then to make sure if you're getting any scratches, then you go horizontal like that. And I spent about, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes on each one of the bolsters on that other cover to try to get it all shined up. So there you go. You can start with something like 1000 grit. This is 2500. And you can just kind of see the progress I'm making already. It looks better already. So let me sand on both of these, and then I'll show you how I put the putty on here. Okay, so I got this cover done here, and I don't have the final paint job done on it yet, but I did fill it in. It had a big dent in it. It looked uneven, just like this one here. You see that great big dent in it right there. Turn it over, you can really feel it there. So anyway, I got all the rust off of this cover, and I was just going to show you, I've got some adhesive putty here, and I'm just going to cut off a little piece of this adhesive putty. It doesn't take a lot. Got some plastic wrapped around it. Okay, got rid of the plastic. You can see there, all you got to do is knead it. And you want a nice gray consistent color, I guess. So you're mixing in the hardener with the putty. So one problem I had here on this one is after I got it on there and sanded, it was hard to get this feathered off. Now I think this is ready to be sanded in about an hour. It sets in about 5 minutes, so you got to work quick with it. I think it's sandable within an hour, but I like to let it set at least overnight. So let's put that in there, and I don't know if I can get it squished down in there so that, see, that's the problem. You got to kind of put it on thick there. Press it down as best you can. Yep. We're just going to have to do a lot of sanding on it then to get it all smoothed out. It's starting to harden already. Okay, we're going to leave it like that, and I'm going to let it set all night long. Well, I let the epoxy dry overnight, and this is what we're looking like here. It's very hard. It is sandable, so I've got some 400 grit here. We're just going to do some rough sanding here and get rid of a lot of this. We don't need all of this here. It does sand off pretty easy. And we'll try to get it all nice and smooth here. See that big chunk just come off of there? Now I could probably use the Dremel tool with a sanding attachment to it, but you know, I work in my basement and I don't want to throw all this dust up into the air and all of that. See that big thick spot right there? That should just come right off. We'll get rid of that. Yep, that just pops right off. Now, one thing I didn't do, and I meant to do, I did it on the other one, is sand this real rough so that gives it more to hold on to. I think it's more important before you prime it and paint it to rough that up just a little bit. You don't want it ultra smooth when you're trying to paint it. So I'll just work on this and try to get her sanded down smooth. Okay, so I got this other cover all sanded down. It's pretty smooth. Probably could have gotten feathered a little better. But you can see the great big dent has been taken out of it. Now, it's the weekend. The only store available in my little small town is a Dollar General. I went to try to find some primer, some spray primer. They didn't have any. So I'm going to have to go back to using just the regular, this is Rust-Oleum white primer. I'm going to have to try to brush it on. So in adapting and overcoming, I just got this dual end eyeliner spoolie out of the makeup section there at Dollar General. It seems to be pretty fine. I'm going to see if I can't brush it on without leaving heavy, brush marks. I don't know. I don't know if this will work real well or not. I can always take my like 3000 grit sandpaper and maybe smooth it out just a little bit. I don't need it to be super heavy. But it does seem to be doing better than... I don't see heavy brush marks in it. Put just a little on there. I'm going to go ahead and reprime this. They didn't have a very good selection of spray paint, so I got this blue spray paint here. We'll try spray painting in blue instead of trying to brush on the yellow. This is a concept video to begin with. This is my first try at this, just to see how well that putty will work. Would it crack and crumble or anything like that? So we're going to do our best to paint them up as nice as we can, but again, I can always come back later if I had to and take the paint off and repaint them. But okay, that actually looks pretty good like that. Okay, we'll let this dry and then I'll take it out and spray paint it. Well, this is what the covers look like after my paint job. As I thought, I didn't get this feathered out quite as nice as I should have. And that dent is still kind of showing there just a little bit. So I could have done a little better job. But again, this is experimental. This one looks a lot better, although if you look close, you can see the putty down in there, but it looks a lot better than being all dented. So my next step is, it's not just how nice the paint job looks on it. How are you going to protect the paint job on it? Because if I just put the covers on and started carrying it, that paint would probably just, get all scratched up and eventually just, well, they wouldn't stay nice for very long. So I had bought this a few months back for a different project, and I never did use it. But this is some clear acrylic coating, a gloss. And it's supposed to, in minutes, provide a permanent, protective, non-yellowing finish. So I want to give a coat of this, maybe 1 or 2 coats of this clear acrylic on here. And then we'll put the covers on. And then I can carry the knife for a while and see if, this helps protect the paint from being scratched off. So that's my next step. Okay, I've given it a couple of coats with that clear acrylic coating, and it's been about a half hour since my second coat. It is dry to the touch. The directions on the can says you can recoat it at any time. Give it like maybe 15 minutes and you can recoat, but you should let it set for 24 hours before you actually really start handling it. But I think it's dry enough now. We can take these off and just take a look at them. That's part of my problem. Curiosity kills the cat, right? I'm always so curious and I get impatient. So I'm wondering how they look overall. Okay. Take this off here. That doesn't look bad at all, does it? Wow. Get this one off. Hey, that looks pretty cool. Oh, I'm liking that one. Now I know on this one, you can see there, I should have sanded more on it. But that's all right. We're just experimenting here. Let's take this one off here. Okay, let's set that aside. Take a look at this one. Okay, that doesn't look so bad. I mean, you really have to look close to see that when you're looking up close. But I'll bet you get a little pocket wear and that on it. It probably won't show up. So far we're being successful. We've gotten rid of all of those dimples Those big dents in there. Yeah, so I'm going to let this dry, like I said, for about 24 hours, and then we're going to put these covers back on. Well, here we kind of have our finished product. I think the paint job came out wonderful on this. But let's go over our goals once again. The first goal was to remove all the rust. So, you know, obviously I did that, got the covers off, got all the rust removed from everything. The second goal was to test out the JB Weld epoxy putty. I think it performed quite well. On this side, I got it sanded down really nice and smooth and feathered, and I think it took those dents right out of there. I don't think it'll crack or flake off or anything like that. I think that is a durable option for filling in the dents. And as I stated before, I could have sanded better on this side because it does show through there. I could have sanded that smoother. But we've met our second goal. I think that epoxy putty will work out well in the future if I need to do this again. The last thing is the paint job. It looks wonderful. I'm quite happy with it. My only question is the durability. And I did scratch lightly on this side. You can see one little chip kind of come out right there. I don't know how durable the paint is on here. Will it, you know, just flake off? I don't know. So I thought I'd simulate here just a little bit of carrying a knife in a pocket. Got some keys and some coins. We're just going to tumble it around here for a few minutes and just see what happens here. Okay. Yep. Got a little ding there. That's from before. It's holding up. So far, it's kind of holding up, isn't it? Okay. Right there, just a little ding. But you know, I'm grabbing and rubbing on it pretty good. You know, it's a little bit more durable than what I thought. I thought it would actually scar it up worse than that. So I'm going to say the jury is still out. I would still like to find some more durable coating to put over the paint to protect the paint. So if anyone has any suggestions, please let me know. I just think from where we started with this knife to where we're at right now, I think it turned out really well. Even look at the bolsters, doing the sanding on the bolsters, cleaned them right up, but it still kind of retains that vintage look to it. It looks like it's been used. So yeah, I'm quite happy with the results of this knife. Please leave me a comment. What do you think? Leave me a suggestion. What else can I do to help harden over there to protect that paint job on it? I think I will. Well, see there. I could epoxy that down if I needed to. It's bent there just a little bit, but from where we started with this knife to where we're looking right now, I think it's a success. So again, leave a comment. Thanks for watching, as always. And now go out and have a very delightful day.